In this video, I'll explain you how to install Python and a bunch of related software for us to work on machine learning, data science, and AI broadly. So right now I'm operating on Windows 10 operating system because when we talk to a lot of our students, most of them use a Windows laptop, and hence I'm making this video on Windows, unlike other videos of mine which are typically done in a Mac. So on Windows, it's very, very simple. We will share this Word document with you, this simple text document where all the steps are clearly outlined. But let's go and first install Python itself, right? This is the link. If you're using Windows, this is the link that you have to work with. Just copy it and let's go to our any web browser like Chrome here. And if you just paste it, right, and enter, it will download the Python with version 3.6, right? What I've done here is I've already downloaded it and put on my desktop. See, look at it like this. So if you look at the file description here, it says it's a Python for 64-bit because my operating system is a 64-bit operating system. I'm using Python 3.6 with 64-bit, right? Now let's start installing this. When I double click it, it says install now. Just use the simple installation and it chooses the path for you. It's important to check this checkbox because this checkbox here, which I'm working with right now, says add Python 3.6 to path. Okay, path is a system path where your command prompt will search for a given program or a given executable. So this will help you work with Python seamlessly. Once you have checked this checkbox, just install, and it will take a couple of minutes and it will install. While that gets installed, if you are using Ubuntu or any Ubuntu, actually version 16.04 and 14.04 ship with Python 3. So in this throughout our course, we use Python 3 extensively. There is another very popular Python version called Python 2.7. We are not using it because Python 3 is the state of the art, and we are using. So if you have Ubuntu 16.04 or 14.04, you could just go to your command prompt and or your terminal, as it's called in Linux. You can just say Python 3-v. If it outputs you 3.6, you're cool. So if you are using a Ubuntu operating system, you don't have to install Python itself. On Mac, what happens is on Mac, the modern OS X operating systems come pre-installed with Python 2.7 but not 3.6, right? So for those of you who want to install it on Mac, you can just go to this hyperlink, which is python.org downloads Mac OS X, and you can just download the 3.6 version and install it. It's very, very straightforward. Just to reiterate, we use Python 3 extensively. We do not use Python 2.7. Of course, there are some compatibility issues between Python 2.7 and Python 3. Please use Python version 3.6. That's what we are using extensively. Okay, so let's go and check out what's happening. Okay, your setup is successful, so your Python is successful, right? So that's good to know. As soon as Python is successful, let's just check that Python was installed properly. And the way you do it, so if you want to check Python installation on Windows, so if you want to check Python installation on Windows, the way to do it is go to your terminal or your command prompt. So if you're using a Windows, it's called a command prompt. If you're using a Linux or a Mac, it's called a terminal. So you can open your command prompt in Windows using Control+R. Okay, so I'm typing it right now. I can do Control+R. Sorry, it's actually Windows R. Sorry, it's not Control+R. It's the Windows button. It's been years I have used Windows. Trust me, it's been many years. So there is this window button with R, which will give us the run command, in which if I type cmd, as you can see here, I'm just typing cmd, which means command prompt. And as soon as I open it, it opens my command prompt, right? Now I can say Python, and as soon as I type Python, it says, okay, the version that I have right now is 3.6.3, right? Now it goes into Python for me. Now I can exit Python using just exit command, right? So this tests that your Python has been installed successfully. Okay, so you can do Windows R followed by CMD and enter, right? So that's how you can check your Python installation on Windows. On Mac or Linux, you just have to go to the terminal and type Python, right? And you just type Python, right? Let me just put a dollar symbol here so that you know that it's a command prompt. Okay, so since we've installed Python successfully now, let's go and install uh, a tool called Anaconda. Anaconda is a package management system which is very, very useful, and we can install, of course, just for Windows, Mac, and Linux. We can just go here. So let's start downloading, and so you can just go here. Let me show you how to download and install Anaconda. Now, Anaconda is a very, very useful tool. So let me just go and copy paste this. Even like because I've used Mac extensively for the last decade or so, it's slightly harder for me to find keys on Windows. That's okay. So now I can choose what I want to install this on. So I can say installing on Windows. It'll give me detailed information, or I can just go to Anaconda documentation. Oh, so I've come to Anaconda documentation. So this is the download link, right? The Anaconda documentation is there. I can just copy the download link here. Sorry, Alt tab, and if I paste this link, right, it's anaconda.com/download. Here you have three operating systems. You have Windows, Mac, and Linux. Since this is a Windows operating system, I just click on Windows. Then it'll ask me whether I want the 3.6 version or the 2.7. As I just told you, we want the 3.6 version, and I want a 64-bit version, right? I want a 64-bit version. So I'll just click on the 64-bit installer, which it will download, right? Now, once I download, okay, let me just cancel this because I've already downloaded this and put it on our desktop just in the interest of time, right? Now this is my Anaconda 3.5. The underscore 64 bit at the underscore 64 at the end shows that this is for a 64-bit operating system like the one that I have. Now just double click it, and it's very, very simple. Installing Anaconda is very simple. You just agree to this, okay, you say that's okay, give the default path. Here it's good to say add Anaconda to my path environment variable so that when you run any of your commands on the command line or in the terminal on the command prompt, it's very easy for it to find. Okay, so I click both of them. It says okay, that's okay. So just click both of these two advanced options so that it will be easy for you. So register Anaconda as my default Python 3.6. Also add Anaconda to my environment variables. Once I just say install, it will take a few minutes to install. You'll have to be a little more patient because Anaconda is a slightly big package. Okay, it will take a while to install. Let's wait for it to install. So it will take you a few minutes for this whole installation process to complete. Please be patient because Anaconda installs a lot of other related packages for you. Okay, so once it's done, just click finish and you're good, right? Of course, it will open a couple of tabs and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's go back to a text file, right? So if you have any problems with installing, there is a quick start guide in this link that you can refer to. Okay, so one thing that Anaconda does is when you install Anaconda, it installs a package. It installs a very interesting tool called IPython notebooks, which I'm highlighting here. Right now, let's see how to use IPython notebooks and how to create a simple notebook. By the way, all of this course throughout this course, we use IPython notebooks extensively, right? Because that's our GUI or graphical user interface on which we write code. Okay, it's one of the most popular user interfaces for data science and machine learning. Okay, so let's launch it. How do you launch it? Once you install Anaconda, you open the terminal and press enter. Now we already have the terminal open, right? In case you forgot how to open the terminal, it is Windows button or CMD, right? And that's it. Your um, on Windows, this opens your command prompt. If you're on Linux, all you have to do is you have to just open terminal. Terminal is a very useful app. Now here we have provided a YouTube link on how to install. So on basically how to use IPython notebooks. But I thought I'll give you a quick overview. So once you have installed, once you have the command prompt, the dollar here represents the command prompt. You just say Jupyter notebook. Jupyter notebook. Okay. Jupyter notebooks and IPython notebooks are one and the same. They're often used interchangeably. So the moment I type Jupyter space notebook, let's wait for a second. It's taking a second. Okay. It opens. So it opens on localhost, right? It opens on your web browser. Remember, this is my web browser, right? Here, let's assume I want to start writing code. So first, let me create a new folder. Remember this, as soon as you go here, it says you can create a notebook or you can create a text file or a folder, right? Let's create a folder, right? So once you try to create a folder, okay, let me go down here. You get an untitled folder here. You can go into this folder and you can say create a new Python 3 notebook. Now you got your Python 3 notebook, right? So it clearly says, look at the top right here. It says this is a Python 3 notebook and this notebook is stored in the untitled folder, right? And the notebook name itself is untitled.py Python notebook, IPYNB, right? Here you can just test it by saying print hello. Okay, and how do you run it? You just go to this run cell. It says run cell, so you just run it and it prints hello. Okay, so this is called an IPython notebook or a Jupyter notebook. We will use this extensively. This is a great way that data scientists and machine learning engineers across the world document their work. And actually, this is what a lot of people actually use to try out different machine learning models, to train models, and to share their work. Throughout this course, all of the code that we have, we will share it with you using Jupyter notebooks. Okay, it's very easy. It's extremely easy to use these Jupyter notebooks. Okay, now since we know how to use Jupyter, now let's go ahead and understand. This is a simple typo here. Okay, so now there are multiple packages that we have to install. They're like all these packages. The packages called pandas, matplotlib, nltk, numpy, scipy. There are all these packages that you have to install, and it's very easy to install all of them. If you are on Mac and Linux, please open the terminal. If you're on Windows, go to the command prompt, and we can quickly go to the command prompt using Windows R. Since I have it already open here, all you have to type is, if you go here, you just copy paste each of these commands one by one. If I say pip3 install, pip is a very popular Python package manager, okay, which helps you install Python packages seamlessly, right? Let's just see if we can install pip. I'll install one of them, pip3 install pandas, right? That's it. Okay. Oh, I already have pandas installed here. So if it says requirement already satisfied, you don't have to worry. Okay, because it already is installed. If it's not installed, you just download the package for you and install it. Right? This is, I recommend you install all of these packages one after the other. Okay, we use all of these packages throughout this course. If there's any new package that we have missed out here, we'll ask you to install it in the corresponding chapter. Okay, so we'll share this text file with you, which explains how to install all the tools that we need step by step. So don't worry, just follow this guide, follow this video guide and the text file. That will solve most of your problems of installing Python. And installing is the first step for you before you go ahead and try out some of our code, try out some of the algorithms and things like that. Okay, sounds good. All the very best. I hope you have very few hiccups. I've seen some students get caught up in get spend almost a day sometimes with installation. I hope that doesn't happen to you. And yeah, I hope this will be easy for you to install through.